18 years ago this week on April 28th, 1996, Good Friends, Better Enemies In Your House pay-per-view featured the final appearances for Big Daddy Cool Diesel and Razor Ramon. I'm not counting the fake Diesel and Razor or Diesel's comeback at the Rumble a few years ago. Both guys were headed to WCW. Razor got squashed by Vader. And by squashed, I mean literally squashed. Vader sat down on his chest and pinned him. Diesel put over his best buddy, Shawn Michaels, in the main event. Shawn's first title defense since beating Bret Hart at WrestleMania. And, this may be the best Kevin Nash match he ever had. He had some good matches with Bret Hart. You know, it wasn't like every single Kevin Nash match was atrocious. He had some good ones. This was probably the best one, though. They went in there. They had a no-holds-barred brawl. So they beat the crap out of each other. They did a spot where Diesel powerbombed Shawn through the announce desk on the outside. The first time that had ever happened in WWE. So long before the Shield started powerbombing people through the announce table, Diesel did that to Shawn. And this was one of those old crappy, wooden announce tables that just kind of breaks in half. Monitors went flying. Yeah, he didn't clear the desk of the monitors and all that kind of stuff, so they go flying in the air, and Shawn's laying in this just heap of rubble, and Vince McMahon is trying to, he's moving the monitors off Shawn, trying to, unbury him here. And in the end, they did this very, controversial to some. I liked it. It was completely tasteless, but it fit the narrative that Diesel was an asshole who was willing to do anything to win. He went outside the ring, and Mad Dog Vachon was sitting at ringside. Now, Mad Dog Vachon, very famous wrestler, just passed away recently, had his leg amputated. He lost his leg in an accident where he was jogging on the side of the road and a car ran him over. This was back in the late 80s. So he had a prosthetic leg. Nobody knew this. None of the fans watching knew this. So Diesel just casually walks over. He moves aside the part of the guardrail and just unprovoked grabs Mad Dog. People start freaking out. He very gently puts him down on the ground, and he starts yanking at his leg. And I remember watching, I can't figure out what he's trying to do. He rips his leg out. Now imagine if you're a younger fan, or you're a fan who has no idea who this guy is, or you know it's Mad Dog, but you don't know he's got a fake leg. Imagine the reaction to something like that for the first time. Because they've done this angle since. They did it with Roddy Piper and Zach Gowen, I think, many years ago on SmackDown. But this was the first time, at least in WWE, that something like this was done. And the people were appalled. They couldn't believe it. It was this shocking moment. And Diesel's holding the leg up like a trophy, and he brings it into the ring, and he's going to hit Shawn with it. But then Shawn gives him a low blow. Shawn takes the leg. He's making like he's Babe Ruth calling his shot. Hits Diesel in the head with it. Super kick. 1, 2, 3. Great finish. Great angle to a really, really good match that highlighted this show. Also on the show, the Ultimate Warrior beat Goldust in a terrible match. So the polar opposite of the main event. I don't even know if you could call it a match, really. Goldust was defending his Intercontinental title here. He came into the match with a injured knee. So he really couldn't do much. So we had a lot of stalling, a lot of smoke and mirrors. Finally, Warrior clotheslined Goldust out of Marlena's director's chair that he was sitting in the ring. And Goldust just left and got himself counted out. That's literally all there was to it. And for those of you who have the network, if you want to see one of the segments that led to this match between Warrior and Goldust, it's up on the network right now. It's in the Raw replay section under 1996. It's from April of 96. It was the show where the Ultimate Warrior came back. Vince McMahon interviewed him. One of the best Ultimate Warrior promo segments I've ever seen. He's very coherent in the segment. And it's an interesting look into what I think a modern-day version of the Ultimate Warrior character, maybe during the Attitude Era, not so much today, would have been had he stuck around for more than 4 months. His runs never really did last very long, except the original one. But, he's actually very coherent. Goldust comes in, he's pretending, because Ultimate Warrior, I don't know if he was homophobic in real life or not. Clearly, he's made comments to that effect. Was it just for show? Does he really feel that way? Who the hell knows? But in this segment, they were playing off the homophobic vibe of the Goldust character back then. Goldust was touching him. Warrior's like, don't touch me, and stuff like that. But Warrior just starts, he's dropping cuss words in this segment. Stuff you would never see the Ultimate Warrior do back in the 80s and the early 90s during that, kids run in WWE. He's here talking about, I don't go for that shit, and they bleeped shit. And then one of the best Warrior lines in any promo ever. Goldust was a big movie buff back then. Warrior's tired of his nonsense, and he just goes, if you're looking for a full-length, action-packed adventure, I got a full-length movie for you. Me kicking your ass from beginning to end. And then he just clotheslined the crap out of Goldust. And the segment ended. It was great. And you can watch that if you have the network, because it's up in the, again, in the 1996 section right now. Much better than the match itself.